Have you ever looked at those super expensive paintings in TV shows, movies, and museums and thought, man, I wish I could get a piece of that action? Rich people seem to buy art, watch it go up in price, and then sell it for crazy profits. So you might be thinking, how can I do that? Well, there's a New York City startup founded in 2017 called Masterworks that says they have the answer. They claim to let regular people buy shares in really expensive paintings, hoping they'll increase in value and sell for a profit down the line. But here's something to consider. What if I told you that the painting they're selling you is just a distraction? Masterworks positions itself as a way for everyday people to invest in high-end art, just like the wealthy. They even highlight how art investing has historically outperformed the stock market. Sounds pretty appealing. You might think, finally a chance to get in on this. But hold on a second. Investing in art through a company like this isn't as straightforward as it seems, and it comes with some serious risk. It's not like buying a house, where you know it'll probably be worth something. The art market can be incredibly unpredictable. A painting worth millions today could be worth significantly less tomorrow. Think of it this way. It's a bit like gambling, but instead of chips, you're betting on pretty pictures. While Masterworks' homepage often showcases the big wins, the paintings that sold for impressive profits, the potential downsides are buried in their disclosure pages, filled with complicated financial and legal jargon that most people don't fully understand. So in this video, we're going to cut through the noise. We'll explore how this art investing company actually works and highlight the key things you need to be aware of. So here's the basic idea Masterworks pitches. They buy incredibly expensive paintings, the kind that can cost hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. Then they allow you to buy small pieces of these paintings. You might think, great, I own a fraction of a famous artwork. But this is where it gets interesting. You're not actually buying a physical piece of the painting itself. Instead, you're buying shares in a company that owns the painting. And get this company isn't even located in your country. It's based in a place called the Cayman Islands. Now, you might have heard of the Cayman Islands. It's a well-known offshore financial center, a place where wealthy individuals and companies popularly park their money for various reasons, including paying few to no taxes. Bottom line, you're not directly investing in art. You're buying a piece of a company located in another country that happens to own the art. To even get started, you need to put down a significant amount of money. Masterworks typically requires a minimum investment of $15,000. That's a hefty sum for most people. And get this, on top of that, huge chunk of cash to keep chipping away at your balance with fees over time. You can view the painting online and see its supposed value, but you can't physically touch it. You can't hang it in your home. You don't actually own the painting and never will. After a few years, Masterworks will attempt to sell the painting. If they successfully sell it, you receive your share of the proceeds, minus their fees, as we'll discuss later. But here's a major potential problem. If that painting doesn't sell, your money is essentially stuck. You can't simply withdraw it. And while they say they have a trading platform where you can try to offload your shares to someone else, that could be totally pointless if nobody wants them. Think of it like trying to sell something that nobody wants to buy. Your money could be tied up forever. Alright, let's break down how Masterworks really makes its money through fees. Right off the bat, they take an upfront fee, often around 11% of your investment. So if you invest $1,000, you'll immediately lose $110 to this fee. Then there are ongoing fees per year, typically around 1.5% of the value of your investment. So every single year, a slice of your cash goes to babysit a painting you'll probably never even lay eyes on. And finally, when or if a painting is sold for a profit, Masterworks takes a significant cut, often 20% of that profit. So whether a painting sells or not, Masterworks is consistently collecting fees, while you, the investor, bear all the risk of the painting not increasing in price or not being sold at all. The initial pitch sounds interesting, giving folks with $15,000 in cash access to high-end art investing. But even experienced investors can miss the red flags buried in these fees and Masterworks risk disclosure warnings, which we'll dig into later. If you don't wrap your head around all these costs, you could wind up losing a serious chunk of money you weren't expecting to say goodbye. To put it simply, you could invest $15,000 and potentially get back less than that after all the fees and if the artwork doesn't perform well. That's not really investing, that's potentially losing money. Let's be real, the art investing world can be a total roller coaster, kinda like the Wild West of money. Unlike your usual investments like stocks and bonds, there aren't always a ton of strict rules to protect regular folks like us. Masterworks does work with some financial regulatory bodies for a trading platform, including FINRA, which stands for the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, the stock market's rule enforcer. It's like a non-government watchdog that makes sure brokers and firms play fair and protect investors. And also including the SEC, which stands for the Securities and Exchange Commission, the government's main financial market cop. It makes sure companies are honest with investors, prevents fraud, and keep the markets running smoothly for everyone. So even though Masterworks' trading platform is overwatched by these important regulators, Masterworks as the company is not a registered investment company. Registered investment companies are subject to certain rules and regulations designed to protect investors, including the requirement that any claims about potential financial returns on investments must be verified and not misleading. According to FINRA, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority's own website, investment communications should be truthful and balanced, and unverified return claims often violate this principle. Since Masterworks is not a registered investment company, despite its whole business idea being an investment platform, if they want, they can claim unverified things. Art prices go up and down like crazy. What's highly valuable today could lose significant value tomorrow. It's less like predictable investing and more like trying to guess what will be popular in the future. Painting you invested in? It might just be a passing trend, something that's fashionable for a short period, but then interest fades away. If that painting tanks in value, your investment could go right down the drain. You could end up with thousands of dollars tied to a painting worth very little. Selling your shares when you want to might be difficult or even impossible. There might not be enough buyers on the Masterworks trading platform. Masterworks even says in their fine print that you could be stuck holding onto those shares forever. Translation: your money could be locked in a vault with no key. Here's the cold hard truth. Even if the art goes up in price, it might not be enough to cover all the cash you've shelled out in fees, and there's a real possibility you might never get your initial money back. Masterworks features on their website claims about the impressive returns of art investing compared to the stock market. For example, the S&P 500 tracks the stock performance of 500 of the largest US companies. It's a key indicator of the overall stock market's health. According to Masterworks' website, blue chip art has outpaced the S&P 500 by 32% from 1995 to 2024. But you gotta read the fine print. They throw in a disclaimer saying they cooked up their own art price tracker all the way back to 1995, kinda like how they track house prices, to show how art investing supposedly does over the long term, not using a standard, trusted source that is accepted worldwide by other art institutions. Let's be honest, the art world is a murky place, with no real way to reliably track all the prices. So while Masterworks loves to brag about the paintings that made money on their site, they conveniently forget to mention the ones that flopped, or the folks stuck with shares nobody wants. It's like only showing the winning lottery tickets and hiding all the losing ones. Research from Brussels, Belgium University professors Victor Ginsberg and Philippe Jonfils in 1995 showed that art prices don't move in sync with traditional financial markets like stocks and bonds. The research, based on paintings prices in major art markets, New York, London, Paris, between 1962 and 1991, looking at different types of artists, suggested that art prices don't necessarily move in the same direction as stocks and bonds over the long term, although there might be some short-term influence. So while throwing some art into your investment mix could shake things up a bit, don't expect it to give you the steady returns you might see with regular investments. Once you consider the bold claims on their homepage and how hard it is to track global art prices, you start wondering, is Masterworks offering real investment value, or is this the level of risk just not for me? Most people don't buy art to get rich. Rich people buy it because they love it. In fact, a report found that only a small percentage of art collectors and professionals buy art solely for investment purposes. The latest 2023 report by the auditor company Deloitte and art market research firm Artactic found that only 5% of art collectors buy art just to make money, and 4% of art professionals buy art just to make money. I mean, think about it. It hits you in the feels and can mean something special to you. According to the consulting company Knight Frank's Wealth Report of 2024, the main reason people own things like art is because they enjoy having them. Even if a painting loses a ton of its money value, someone who's really into it might just keep it anyway. It could bring them joy, enhance their living space, or spark intellectual curiosity. But remember, with Masterworks, you don't have that personal connection to the artwork. You're simply holding a share in a company that owns it. Furthermore, even among the ultra-wealthy, fine art and collectibles typically make up a very small portion of their overall investment portfolios. According to Knight Frank's Wealth Report of 2025, still fine art and other collectibles owned by ultra-high net worth individuals globally account for just 2% of total portfolio allocations. This shows you that even the really rich don't see art as their main moneymaker. So if your main goal is to get rich through art investing, you might end up being disappointed. So while Masterworks is a legitimate business, they layer on significant fees, highlight their successes with potentially selective data, and create a situation where it can be difficult to sell your shares on their trading platform, essentially trapping your investment. While they operate within the legal framework, and art can be an interesting asset for diversification, the level of fees they charge is comparable to expensive hedge funds for a high-end collectible that you'll never really actually own or even see in person. After you've heard all this in the video, it's up to you to decide if this whole art investing thing is right for you. Want more videos that explain what's really going on in the world of business? Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you're always in the loop. Thanks again for showing love on our last video, and our favorite comment from that one goes to